Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to Let's Play .hack.gu Volume 3 Redemption. Whatever. Oh my god, that was horrible. Let me start over. Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play .hack.gu Volume 3. This is Some Type of Artist. Today, we're going to do the final battle against Tri-Edge. That may sound like it comes out of nowhere, but hey, so does all of this, and I'll have things to talk about, I'm sure, as I'm sure you're well aware of by now. And, holy cow, I am sorry for that buzzing. That's been showing up in, like, all of my videos, or a lot of my videos. And I'm kind of ticked that this episode in particular has it in it.
It appears it's being protected by a holy power.
Whatever. I guess that's the result of me using a splitter to, record instead of just recording directly on my computer from having the
Here's the cathedral. Let's go.
the AV cables plugged in directly into the capture card. But what can I say? I wanted to play on my TV. But yeah, last time we rescued Ina from Bo's abandonment. I still can't believe Bo just like left her there being attacked by monsters to tell us, hey, she's being attacked by monsters.
In order to search for the ultimate AI, Aura, Ovan formed the Twilight Brigade and invited you into it.
The Twilight Brigade's objective was to locate the key of Twilight.
The sign that they'd arrived at truth.
So keep a pin in the fact that Yada said that Ovan was looking for Aura, and that they're implying right now she's the key of the Twilight, because that'll change by the end of this scene, or at the end of this episode anyway. I'm gonna keep quiet for a little while, because this is a pretty, I wouldn't say, I don't know, I'm just gonna keep quiet for a while and let the scene play, and I'll have time to talk about it afterwards.
Why did Ovan leave with you anyway?
This.
Wait, wasn't that in the Creator's room?
That white place?
My brother. He read books to me all the time. Lots and lots of books from that secret room. And my favorite one, the one he read to me the most, was the Epitaph of Twilight.
Which, of course, for those that may not know or have forgotten, the world was originally based off of this poem called The Epitaph of Twilight from this game's real world. The creator of the world was in love with this poet named Emma Wylant, and Epitaph of Twilight was like her masterpiece. And it was, I don't know if it was ever completed or not, but there wasn't like a complete version that existed. So like fragments of it like are randomly throughout the internet, but whatever. Well, that's not important for GU, even though they're doing this callback to it for whatever reason. Okay, so this is future. This is like a post commentary again. Guess what happened with the YouTube video thing? Yeah. I don't know why Aura's theme from the first series starts playing around here, and I guess YouTube doesn't really like that, or Victor Entertainment or whoever has a problem, because this is like a third or fourth time now that the video is being blocked because of the music. So yeah, sorry, this is gonna be a little silent now, so sorry. So it goes from being the key of the Twilight goes from being Aura to Haseo all of a sudden, and then even before then, wasn't Ovan mentioning something about it being taking on whatever the Seeker determines or whatever? I don't know. And I won't blame GU for all of this. Like, the key of the Twilight has always been kind of ambiguous. I think from fan sites I've looked at back in the day, I feel like it's all kind of pretty accepted that it's Aura if you have to have an answer at all. But that's always been kind of ambiguous. But it's weird here how Yada was like saying the Ovan was looking for Aura in the Twilight Brigade, and then you can infer from that, since the goal of the Twilight Brigade was to find the key of the Twilight. It's kind of like agreeing that Aura is the key of the Twilight, and now it's just like it's Haseo. So, because Chosen One. Also, new Skaith form that comes with Haseo's sleeveless sweater form. Unlike Haseo's sleeveless sweater form, I do like Skaith's form here. I don't know if I like it as much as his other ones or not. I think it is, kind of cool looking as it is. It kind of reminds me of, like, I don't know, like something from Zone of the Enders or something. I think it would be like a cool, like, robot to fight with in like a different game. And we do have an avatar battle with it, and that'll come in a couple of episodes, I think. But yeah, I don't know what happened there. We just absorbed Aina or whatever, or Aura, because Aina's whole thing there is like she's channeling Aura or whatever. And look, all of a sudden, Triage and company are back. Remember them? I don't think the game did, because they had to fit them in somewhere in Volume 3.
These guys.
Yeah,
Here they come.
That's their intro. We don't even get a cutscene. We don't even get a decent scene. We just have that. It's so
Bring it on.
short and disappointing, and so a couple things about this battle before I start talking about other stuff. This is, like the Ovan fights, definitely one of the more challenging battles in the series, so I would bring your A game to this. I would make sure you're prepared with healing items and stuff on that. I brought Adelie, because, healer, and I always have Adelie with me anyway. I don't rely on Adelie for all your healing. Pick up your own slack and keep an eye on everyone's SP. I really hate that Yada's a requirement for this fight, because number one, he just joined the party, so you're probably not very used to him by now. So, good thing we have one of the hardest fights in the game to prepare yourself to get used to him. And second of all, he is, I'm still unsure stat-wise where to place him. He seems to be like this middling mage / frontline fighter. But he I would really rather have had another, like, good frontline fighter with me for this fight. It pisses me off that Yada's here for story reasons and he contributes nothing to the story, because fucking Kite and Balmunk and Orca, the other people that were on the battlefield with him 7 years ago are here, and he has nothing to contribute. I'm sorry, that still really bothers me. It's like, God, I'm still really kind of pissed that Yada, like, makes no mention of, like, recognizing who they are when he absolutely should. Especially, like, Orca maybe not, because Orca was, like, in a coma for all the game, but Balmunk and Kite, absolutely. It's, and it's like that kind of thing where GU kind of, like, goes half-ass with its references, where, like, they throw them in, but, like, the people that should have something to say about those references have nothing to say about them. Like, and it even pisses me off, because in that other episode where Yada was explaining Kubia to us, they showed clips from the original games with Kite and Balmunk right there, and Wise Man right next to them, and it's like, it's just extremely distracting for me that it's like a giant elephant in the room that nobody's like noticing, and like everybody's talking about something else, and like the whole time you're just thinking, is anybody gonna like mention, you know, that? But anyway, so this fight, I was looking back at the footage of this fight, and I'm kind of confused myself, and it's been a couple of months since I've actually played this fight, so bear with me if I get anything wrong. But Orca and Balmung go into their like blue forms that should have been like invulnerable, like how they were when you fought Sirius, but they're not. You can still attack them. They're actually going to be more troublesome than Triage, actually. Triage just kind of stands there and casts spells at you. You know, they hurt too. Like, I'm sure if you like looked at the damage numbers when he hits you, you can see they hurt. Any one of these guys can easily like take down like at least half your HP in one of their shots. But it's kind of hard to say what you would want to do in this fight, because if you take down Orca or Balmung, Triage is going to revive them, and if you go straight for Triage, you're going to be taking a lot of hits from Orca and Balmung and probably just not getting a lot of hits in to start with. So I'd balance. One cool thing that I've yet to mention now that you probably have noticed in the video, with Haseo's new sleeveless sweater form, he can dash. And that is really, actually, the best thing about this form, in my opinion, because he can, like, get out of the way quickly, he can, like, rush towards something quickly. You can also kind of, like, move a little by little as you fire your gun, too, so you can, like, keep attacking and move at the same time. I think that would be one of the biggest things you should worry about in this fight, is just to keep moving. You know, I'm not a huge fan of the guns. They are admittedly kind of fun to use, but they do kind of... They normally break the game because of how easily you can take care of everything with them, but in fights like this, and you know, just in general too, they are even more repetitive because you're tapping X even more than normal when you're fighting. But, anyway, so that scene we just watched there, if you were wondering why is Aina in this plot, it was basically to be a vessel for Aura, who is going to show up after this fight is over. I don't want to spoil anything, but since it's getting more and more difficult for me to find good times to complain about story things, which seems to be like the whole point of the Volume 3 Let's Play, I did want to kind of mention a couple things now, but... yeah, it's not a coincidence. She looks like Aura. She is like the vessel for Aura in this one brief scene, and it's so brief you have to wonder why it's even in the game to start with. Again, it kind of like makes me like wonder, like, are all of these callbacks to the original series suddenly showing up? Oh, by the way, Staccato for you old .hack fans. Really appreciate that one. But yeah, after Ovan's defeat, all these old callbacks for, like, these random things popping up to, like, include the game, it makes me, like, wonder what kind of, like, things the story development was like when they were making this game. And I actually did go and research into the GU story planning, and, unfortunately, I found nothing. I kind of wasn't expecting to find much at all, and granted, I didn't really look for too long. I spent maybe like 10 minutes trying like different search phrases into Google and seeing what it could pop up, but I didn't really find any kind of like useful information. I think like the most useful thing I found was the interview with the creator, the one that was like saying the first volume is going to be longer than the original 4 games combined, which was a total lie. Yeah, so, I don't know, I mean, I guess that's kind of to be expected for, like, kind of an obscure JRPG in America. Like, I highly doubted there was any kind of, like, deep information compared to, like, the development of, like, Nintendo games or Sonic or, you know, something more popular. But, you know, I don't know, maybe I'll take a look on, some .hack message boards and you know, you never know. Maybe you'll like find some interesting information. Don't know if it'll be true or not, but you know, based on I don't know, the GU Plus manga, which I did read, and I still wanted to mention something about them. Like one of the writer's notes was how it was originally supposed to be 3 volumes long, and that took you through the fight with Ovan, and then at some point he was saying like we're gonna keep working on it. So I'm assuming something like higher up decided to like keep the game going at the last minute, but I don't know. Yeah, I did want to know more about GU's story planning. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm really not too knowledgeable on like the behind the scenes creation process of Dot Hack. Like I'm really not sure about like a lot of the people that worked on it, other than like studios and stuff like that. I know the first series had some like big names attached to it, but I don't think they all came to GU. I could be wrong about that. I know the writer for the manga was one of the writers for the GU series, but he was, you know, it's weird because like any kind of information I can get from GU is all coming from Wikipedia, which, you know, I think in this day and time you can fairly rely on because inaccurate information is usually corrected, but you know, it's still not a 100% thing or anything. I know this one writer, Kazunori Ito, according to the Wikipedia page, he did work on the original games. I think he was credited as like the only writer for the original games. GU is listing 3 different writers: Kazunori Ito, Miyu Kawasaki, and Tatsuya Hamazaki. And it's Tatsuya Hamazaki that was the one that wrote the GU Plus manga. He may have also wrote Liminality, not Liminality. What was it? Well, Legend of the Twilight manga. Let's see. Yeah, that's him too. So, I don't know. I mentioned before I wasn't like a huge fan of that one, even back in the day. I mean, I reread it a fair amount back when I didn't really have like a lot of manga, and I was kind of like rereading the things I did have like all the time, but it didn't really stick out much to me compared to like the other Dot Hack things. But yeah, like I mean, I know I have a lot of like passionate thoughts about Dot Hack, but it mostly comes to what I've experienced, like either watching the shows or reading whatever manga or novels, and then you know, obviously the games. But I wish I had more like behind the scenes info I can show. But jeez, man. Yeah, it's a long fight too. It's definitely one of the longest fights, and that's probably like the most satisfying thing about this, is that like at the very least it is one of the more challenging fights in the game, because I think the fight's almost over, so I don't want to go too much into it, unfortunately. But I mentioned it before, but since we're here, I feel like it's worth mentioning again. I am, like, the big thing that drew me into GU was this Tri-Edge character, and how he was like a zombie, like messed up version of Kite, and that was the most interesting thing to me in the first game. And like one of the biggest disappointing things about GU for me was how like it consistently gradually seems to forget about it until Volume 3, when it's just basically forgotten about entirely. There's the one scene where all of them take care of Sakaki, but that's it. This is like the ultimate culmination for this, and it's been so long since any kind of significant encounter with them, you almost have to like, you really like start to notice how insignificant they are to the plot. And I kind of feel like, you know, I hate this term, but I kind of feel like they're kind of like clickbait, because it's what drew me into the series, and it had like almost nothing to do with the series. But we get our answer for who they are coming up, so it's not like they're entirely random, but I'm not...
Stop at once.
I don't hate what they are. I hate how low key this entire scene is. But I guess Ina's summoning ritual is done, and Aura's here now. And we randomly get Triage's weapon. Which is cool. It's not nearly as cool when Haseo uses it in his sleeveless sweater form. Definitely would have looked cooler if it was in his Terror of Death form, but... there they go. And that's the end of their arc. So we came here to basically ask for Aura's help.
Aura.
And Aura said no. You guys have to do it on your own.
Back into the world.
So,
into the vast sea of data.
Again, this whole scene just kind of seemed very pointless.
Can't stay here much longer.
Head back to the Serpent of Lore.
Yeah, so... oh, you still have more?
Kubia's consumption is faster than I'd predicted. Most of the players have begun logging out, having sensed something unusual is going on.
Hey, like you're all supposed to do, like a normal person.
Countless towns will cease to function.
Countless towns! Yada! There's like 3 of them, or 4 of them. Countless towns.
It may be best to take care of it now.
Yes, so
Serpent of Lore when our
so this is when you know, typical end of RPG game is gonna happen, where make sure all of your preparations for a final battle are here now. Yeah. Thanks, Saseo. Yeah, so that whole scene with Triad, it's just like they couldn't even give him a cutscene, you know? And I don't want to sound shallow and like the graphics have to look their best to have like the most impact, but like so many other important scenes, hell, even like non-important scenes in this series, like got their own cutscenes, and for me personally, like those are the most memorable parts of the game, and maybe that's because you know, back in the day, I did rewatch these cutscenes in the movie player in the game, like, over and over and over again. Like, those are the parts of the game I remember most, because I didn't have to play through the entire game to see them. I could just watch them whenever I wanted to, and I loved the original series and GU back then, and I would just, like, go back and rewatch them just for fun, just because I love them so much. So, you know, as like, this should have been, like, such a more interesting moment in the story, and it feels so half-assed, and it's, like, this is the part in Volume 3 that, like, really, really rubbed me the wrong way. Even back then, like I was, like, super disappointed the thing with Triads didn't really, like, amount to anything at all. Like, you know, even going back to Volume 1, he still wasn't really that much of a big part in the story, because, like, other than, like, you know, the motivation for Haseo doing what he's doing and everything, what did Triad really, like, do in Volume 1? You know, he showed up at the beginning to take away Haseo's power. You get that weird cutscene of him in the middle of the game when Yada's, like, showing you the footage from the one dungeon, and then he shows up at the very end. And, you know, in Volume 2, I feel like they were trying to, like, make it, like, be even more, like, be like, don't worry, we have plans for this guy, by introducing, you know, Azure Orca and Azure Belmonk, like, to kind of, like, help with, like, Triad's revival process, or, like, guard his coffin, or whatever, but at the same time, it's like, they didn't really do anything with Haseo's party. Like, the Azure Orca and Belmonk were part of Sirius's group, sure, but, like, Triad was just recovering for most of the game, and when he got out, like, Ovan, like, destroyed them all right away. And then we go to Volume 3, they don't show up until, like, halfway through when they take care of Sakaki, and then they're here. And it's like, Triad is kind of, like, built up in-game, too. Like, they spend more time talking about him than actually doing anything with him, and it just... I don't know. I mean, I mentioned it before, Dot Hack, you know, original series, or GU, is really good about hyping things up, but they don't always pay off well. And this was definitely the thing that, like, pissed me off the most about GU. Just not paying off well. I mean, maybe I'm just, like, a fanboy and just wanted, like, the coolest looking character in this game, in my opinion, to, like, have more of significance, or, you know, something, but, like, they really do just kind of, like, show up, like, out of nowhere, like, after being, like, so far removed from the plot, where you kind of just have to, like, wonder, why are we even doing this? You know, I feel like they were done with the script, and someone said, hey, what about Triad? And they're like, oh yeah, we forgot. We have to, like, end their arc somehow. You know, them being Aura's Knights and everything, I don't have so much of a problem with that. You know, in the Dot Hack Legend of the Twilight manga, they did say Aura had, like, some kind of sense of humor. You know, even though I'm not, like, a huge fan of that, I can at least, you know, accept that as, like, part of the original generation and everything. So, you know, the idea of Aura taking whatever fragments of the character data she found in the old version of the world from 3 of the heroes that helped stabilize the system, and, like, forming them into their own AIs to, like, protect the world from anomalies. Like, I can accept that. It's just, you know, it's so undersold. It's like, just, It's like if someone asked you, what's their point? And they gave, like, a one-sentence answer. But it's like, okay, that's the answer. But, like, it didn't feel important at all. And, you know, for that matter, like, it's weird, because, like, the Azure Knights they're supposed to, like, be tracking down anomalies and everything like that, you know? And it's like, why aren't they doing anything about Kubia? I mean, Kubia is an anomaly, right? And if you say no, well, if Kubia is the anti-existence of Epitaph users, and Epitaph users are considered anomalies because Triad hunts them, you know, you can't say Kubia is not an anomaly, because he is. Why aren't they taking care of Kubia? Isn't Kubia, like, the bigger threat to the game right now? If it's, like, causing, like, in-game earthquakes and countless towns will cease to function and stuff like that. Why aren't they going after Kubia? Like, why couldn't we fight side by side with the Azure Knights instead? Like, that seems like it would have made more sense than, like, this random fight towards the end, and then she's like, stop, don't fight them anymore. And they're like, okay. and granted, in GU Plus, the manga, you know, Azure, Balmunk, and Orca aren't part of it, but Triad is. And, you know, you don't really see much of it, but he does, like, hang back to fight off Kubia Gamoras and stuff while Haseo and company, like, go do their thing. But, you know, that's something else entirely. Yeah, I don't know. It bugs me a lot. And I know a lot of things bug me a lot in this game. If you've been watching these Let's Plays, you obviously know that by now. But the thing with Triad is just, like, I don't know. I think it's always been, like, the official thing that bothered me most about Volume 3. Just because it's like, if, you know, GU does its own thing, fine. But, like, if it's taking shit from the original series, and I think the original series is so much better, and, like, trying and using it as, like, bait to get me more invested, and then it has, like, this non-payoff, it's like, fuck you, game. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I believe the thing about Triad hunting anomalies and stuff like that, and that's why he was after Ovan. Something that always just never made sense to me, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this once or twice before, but that scene where Yada was showing Triad in the dungeon with those random players, and he just, like, literally just, like, shows up and data drains one of them. It's like, what was the anomaly with that guy? I guess you can use the argument that Ida may have been in that dungeon, and, you know, maybe Triad mistook him for it, but I don't know. That just kind of seemed like it was more building up, like, the merciless PKer that Triad was originally portrayed as. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's depressing for me. Just, I don't know. I wonder how much it really matters to, like, other people, because as I've been looking for, like, boards and stuff, I feel like a lot of people have played GU and not played the original series, and since GU is, it's weird because, like, it is its own story. It has a ton of callbacks to, like, the original, well, I wouldn't say a ton, but it has enough callbacks to the original series where you have to, like, wonder, you need context, or else it seems like they're just going to say a bunch of random shit that has no meaning to the bigger plot in the game. But I don't know, maybe if I didn't have a particular attachment to Kite, then this wouldn't have bothered me as much, but I don't know. Every time I see this thing, I think back to, like, 2005 when I was first seeing the trailer for GU, that I watched it over and over and over again, and it was just, like, this badass fight between Haseo and this, like, nega version of Kite, and the whole time I'm just, like, wondering what's up with that character, and there's just no payoff. But I've gone on about this long enough. That is the conclusion of everything Triad, Azure Orca, Azure Balmunk, Azure Kite, whatever you want to call them. It's not the last we'll see of them. There is something in the post game that may excite people, but story-wise, that's it. So next time, let's go and see how GU decides to continue concluding its trilogy. So, see you guys later.